All right, let's dive right in today. We're tackling the story of Mazu. She's a really big deal in Chinese culture. Most people know her as, the protector of seafarers, keeping those ships safe on the waves. But there's so much more to her.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to go way beyond the surface here. We're going to use this TV series, The Legend of Mazu, to really get to know her. Not just the superpowers and all that, but also her heart, her compassion, what she goes through. You'll see how even in the heavens, there's politics and drama.
So much drama.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the beginning. The show starts with Mazu as a baby, and even then you can tell she's different.
They don't mess around.
Right. There's this Taoist master who sees her, and, well, he's kind of blown away. She's switching between crying and smiling, and it's like he sees this huge spiritual potential right there.
It's a great way to foreshadow what's coming, Like, this isn't just a simple origin story. It's about how Mazu embodies the whole human experience from the get-go. The good and the bad, the strength and the times when we're not so strong.
And then there's this amazing part where she brings fish back to life. And she gives up her own hair to do it. Wow. Talk about compassion in action.
It's such a strong image. It immediately tells you this is someone deeply connected to the sea. And it taps into that core idea in Chinese culture of putting others first no matter what.
Yeah, it's not just talk. The show puts it right there on screen. Her sacrificing something precious to help out.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like a preview of the goddess she'll become.
Exactly. And then remember that bit with the glowing fish scales? That was clever.
Oh, yeah. So cool to watch. And it tells you right away, she's not just kind, she's resourceful. She thinks on her feet.
And as she grows up, that only gets stronger. You see these amazing powers developing, knowing what the weather's going to do, healing people. But the show keeps it real, too, Good intentions don't always mean smooth sailing.
That's where the whole clam monster thing comes in. You talk about things getting out of hand. It's not your usual hero story. The villagers think she's hiding some monster treasure and they burn her house down.
It's intense. And, it shows you how easily people can jump to conclusions, be afraid of what they don't get. Even someone as pure-hearted as Mazu, she's not immune to that.
It's a good reminder that being a goddess doesn't make you invincible to human nature.
Yeah.
People are going to oppose you, even when you're trying to do good.
For sure. And then things get even more interesting when you meet the Dragon King's sons. There's this whole layer of tension, like Mazu's got to use both her brains and her courage to deal with them.
Yeah, that's where the show starts to get into the heavenly politics. Turns out, even the gods have their drama. We learn about the god of rain, his sons. And then there's this one, the second prince. He's ambitious, wants the throne, the whole deal.
And the lengths he goes to, framing his own father, that's cold. It just adds this whole other dimension to the story. You realize Mazu's path is going to be anything but easy.
And poor General Turtle, caught right in the middle of it all.
Oh. It's really smart how the show uses these other characters. They make the world feel so much bigger. It's not just focused on Mazu. It's about this web of relationships, human desires mixing with, cosmic stuff.
And then you've got Yang Shenghuan.
Yeah.
Starts out as this kind of sweet connection, but then, bam, huge reveal. He's the fourth prince of the Dragon King, hiding his true identity. Talk about a plot twist.
Totally changes everything, right? Suddenly there's this whole internal struggle going on with Yang Shenghuan. He's got his duty to his father, the Dragon King, and then his feelings for Mazu. It's complicated.
It makes you think, what would you do in that situation? Caught between two worlds, who you thought you were, who you're becoming.
Exactly. And choices, that's what Mazu's always dealing with. Every trial she faces, it's testing her compassion, her will to do what's right. Like when she runs into those pirates, things get intense.
Oh yeah, those guys are not messing around. Lang Lai Fai, Poison Claw, you know right away they're bad news.
Serious bad news.
And then, man, that story of Guo, the rice merchant, gets falsely accused, and it's just tragic. He ends up taking his own life. It really hits you in the gut, seeing how corruption, injustice, it doesn't just hurt one person. It spreads.
It's powerful because it shows you the ripple effect. Guo's story, it's not just about him. It impacts Mazu, everyone around her, the whole community.
Yeah, it's a wake-up call that even with gods and goddesses and magic and all that, real-world problems, they don't go away. And Mazu, with her belief in justice, she's not going to stand for it.
And she really puts herself on the line. You see it when she's captured, imprisoned on Heijia Island. That would break a lot of people, but not her.
It's like all these tough times, they're shaping her into the goddess she's meant to be.
Forging her, yeah.
Even when she finds some peace, like when she marries Wu Zonglun.
Yeah.
It's not a typical ending. They have this understanding she's got to keep doing what she's meant to do, saving lives.
It tells you her purpose is bigger than any one relationship. And then you've got this whole other mystery going on, villagers disappearing, some weird palace being built on this unnamed island.
It all connects back to the second prince, his scheming. The stakes just keep getting higher.
And that's where we run into Yanggong. This guy is trouble, a real thorn in Mazu's side.
They have some epic showdowns, let me tell you. She's smart, she uses strategy, outmaneuvers him again and again. But what's really interesting is how the show portrays him later on.
It's like he starts out as this scary bad guy, but there's a twist, right? He changes.
He does, becomes a force for good. It's hopeful. Like even the worst people, there's a chance they can turn things around.
There is. But let's not get too far ahead. We're just getting started with Mazu's story.
Barely scratched the surface. But even from what we've seen, it's clear she's more than just the protector of ships. She's a symbol of compassion, of never giving up, a reminder that even when things are rough, hope can win out.
I totally agree. But I'm curious, what's grabbed your attention the most so far?
For me, it's that dedication she has, helping others no matter what. But I think we should really break down some of these events, these big themes, in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good to me. There's so much more to uncover about Mazu, her impact, and what her story can teach us about our own journeys. One of the things that really gets me about this show, the Legend of Mazu, is how it uses these big fantastical elements, like you got gods, dragons, sea monsters, but it uses all that to explore stuff that's really human. Like, take Yang Shengquan, fourth prince, disguised as this fisherman, amnesiac. His whole story is about identity.
Absolutely. He's got this powerful heritage, this dragon prince bloodline, but he's also this regular guy trying to piece together who he is. It's like he's wrestling with his past, his present, all the expectations that come with both.
Yeah, like he's leading two lives at the same time almost, and it makes you wonder, what really makes us who we are? Like, if our memories are gone, does that change us deep down, or is there something more fundamental that sticks around?
It makes you think about the different roles we play in life too, right? How much is set for us by family, where we come from, and how much can we actually choose?
And that whole struggle between what you're supposed to do and what you want to do. We see that with Mazu, too. She's constantly facing threats. Pirates, corrupt officials, jealous gods even. It's like her compassion, her power, it attracts trouble.
Like the show saying, hey, doing good? It ain't going to be a walk in the park. There's going to be roadblocks, people trying to stop you. Doesn't mean you give up, though.
No way. And that's where the idea of sacrifice comes in. It's all over Mazu's story. She gives up her hair to save those fish. She puts her own life on the line for others, ends up in prison for standing up for what's right. Compassion means putting yourself out there, sometimes a lot.
And sometimes it costs people dearly. That story with Guo, the rice merchant, it just breaks your heart. False accusation. He takes his own life. It shows you how corruption, injustice, is not a victimless crime.
It's that ripple effect, right? It starts somewhere, but it spreads out, touches everyone. Guo's story, it doesn't just affect him, it changes things for Mazu, for everyone around her.
It's like a reminder, even in this world with magic and gods, those real-world problems, they don't disappear. And Mazu, with her belief in justice, she's not going to let it slide.
She's a fighter. And you see it in how she handles those pirates, how she defends the innocent, even how she deals with the other gods. There's that scene where the pilots capture her thinking they'll get a big reward. She basically tells them off.
You're undervaluing yourselves by thinking so little of me.
Yeah.
I love that line.
Such a great moment. Shows her wit, her authority. She's not just powerful, she's smart, and she's not afraid to call people out when they're doing wrong.
And it's not about revenge, it's about, setting things right, restoring balance.
Exactly. And the show doesn't shy away from the bad stuff either. Greed, jealousy, ambition. It's all there in the human world and with the gods.
Yeah, the God of Rain's sons, they're a prime example. Their whole power struggle, it creates chaos, messes up the natural order of things. It's like a reflection of what goes wrong in our world too, right?
Yeah. Human flaws, they lead to conflict, to suffering, and that's why Mazu's role is so important. She's not just settling arguments, she's trying to fix things, to bring back harmony to a world that's gone kind of wonky. And she does it by showing compassion, forgiveness, seeing the good in people, even the ones who've hurt her.
Like Yanggong. First time you see him, he's this terrifying bad guy, causing mayhem, clashes with Mazu over and over. But then something happens.
She sees potential in him, right? Like maybe even he doesn't see it. And because of her, because of how she interacts with him, he starts to change.
That last showdown they have, it's epic. But it's not just a brawl, it's a battle of wits. Mazu outsmarts him, but she doesn't finish him off. She shows mercy.
And that's what changes him. He goes from villain to ally, uses his power for good, helps her rescue people. It's a powerful statement about forgiveness, you know.
It's like the show's saying, nobody's beyond hope. Even the toughest heart can soften.
And Mazu goes through her own transformation, too. She starts as this girl with amazing abilities, but through everything she faces, the good and the bad, she becomes this wise, powerful goddess.
It's not just her growing on her own either. It's about how she affects everyone around her. The show really emphasizes community, how important it is to work together. You see the villagers supporting her even when they're scared or unsure.
Like, even someone with incredible powers, they still need other people. Together, you can get through anything.
And Mazu gives back to them, too. Inspires them to be better, braver, more compassionate.
That whole thing with the palace on the unnamed island, that's a good example. It takes a ton of people working together to pull that off.
But it also shows how things can be twisted. The palace itself is amazing, shows what people can achieve when they cooperate. But the second prince, he's using it for his own bad ends.
Yeah, good intentions can be manipulated. It's a reminder to be careful, to protect your community from those who take advantage.
And when things get really tough, that's when Mazu's leadership shines through. She's more than just powerful. She gives people hope, shows them the way when things are dark.
And her influence spreads far and wide. She becomes this symbol of safety for sailors, a goddess whose story gets passed down for generations.
All those temples built in her honor, it says a lot about how many lives she touches.
Her legacy is huge. It's about compassion, resilience, that connection to the sea. But it's also about hope, a reminder that even when the world's a mess, good can still win in the end.
It's incredible how they fit all that into such a cool story.
Yeah.
But before we wrap things up, there's one more thing about Mazu I want to talk about, something that really fascinates me.
Oh, I'm all ears.
It's how the show connects Mazu to the sea. Like, it's more than just her protecting ships. It's symbolic, you know?
I know what you mean. There's that image over and over of her standing on the shore, looking out at the water. It's like the sea is this huge unknown full of possibility.
Yeah. And it's not just visuals. They talk about it, too. Remember when she's telling off those pirates, says the sea has more treasure than they can imagine? She gets it. That power, the mystery. The sea can give life, but it can be dangerous, too.
It's like her own life, right? Starts as this normal girl, but inside she's got this potential as big as the ocean. And every challenge, every obstacle, it's like a wave, makes her stronger, wiser.
And adaptable, too. The sea changes all the time, same as life. Mazu, as a goddess, she has to learn to go with the flow, literally ride out those storms.
That's so true. And it goes back to what we were saying about balance. The sea, it can be calm, it can be wild, it can give you life or take it away. Mazu, she embodies that. Strength and kindness, knowing when to act, knowing when to wait. It's like she can calm the waters, but she can also ride the waves.
She's this link between us and the divine, between what we know and what we don't. And it's that connection to the sea that lets her move between those worlds.
It's interesting, too, how the sea brings people together. Sailors, they depend on each other no matter where they come from, what language they speak. And Mazu, protecting them, she goes beyond borders, too.
Exactly. She's not just for one culture. She's this symbol of hope, protection, that spirit of, like, venturing out into the unknown. Anyone can relate to that.
That's why her story still matters today. We all face storms in life, times that test us, make us stronger. But Mazu's story, it reminds us there's always hope, even when it's tough.
And that we can get through those rough times. We've got the strength inside to navigate, to find our way back to calmer waters.
We said at the start we wanted to help you really see Mazu, not just as a name in a story, but as someone real, someone who can inspire you. I think the Legend of Mazu does a great job of that.
Yeah, it makes her come alive. Entertaining, but it makes you think too. And to wrap things up here, we wanted to leave you with this image of Mazu, goddess of the sea, a symbol of hope, of being safe.
May her blessings be with you all. May she guide you on a path of kindness, strength, and helping others.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.